The Magnificent Battle, Merlin, Arthur's Court, and the Mistress of Time, by The Magus. Read by The Magus. Chapter 24, Griffiti. "Wow, it's dark in here," Damon said as he, Mikel, and Fergus listened to the jailer, or whatever you call a dungeon keeper, slammed the heavy door closed, turned the key in the large, clanky lock, and shuffle off down the passageway. Listening carefully, they heard him sit with a thud and utter a weary oof as he positioned himself for the long and boring watch at the bottom of the stairs that led to the smelly, cavernous hole that the boys could now call home. Dark? Dark? When a place smells this bad, you notice that it is dark? Mikel asked incredulously. "I've smelled roadkill skunks that could freshen this place." "No self-respecting skunk would come into a place that smells this bad," Fergus added. "Shoo!" The boys foamed about in the dark, looking, feeling, for, well, anything. "Hey, wait a minute, guys," Fergus, eternally hopeful and enthusiastic, turned his attention from the dark and the smell to the reality of where they were. "Hey, imagine this. We're in a real dungeon, a real one, under a castle and all that. Wow, just think about it. How many times have you read about dungeons? Just think of all the people who have been in them. Just imagine the Count of Monte Cristo, Sir Lancelot, even Arthur was stuck in one. I can't wait to tell my friends that I've been to a real dungeon." "Hey, goofball," Damon replied. "Before you get too excited about this, think about why we are in this dungeon and how we are going to get out. In case you've forgotten, everybody says that we're going to be hanged because Mikel gave some guys bad directions. I don't call getting hanged as something to get real excited about." Fergus could always see the bright side of things, but decided not to say any more. Damon had a good point. The darkness was deep, but after the passage of a couple of minutes their eyes adjusted. They began to see just the barest outlines of the walls in their new home. "Let's look around," Mikel said. "Maybe there's some way to get out of here other than through that door." "Oh, yeah?" replied a skeptical Damon. "Do you think they build a back door into a dungeon so that the prisoners can take a walk and get some fresh air? Do you think they were that stupid?" "There's no use. We're toast." "Toast? Toast," Fergus speculated. "I hadn't thought of being burned at the stake." "Can you please keep your thoughts to yourself?" Mikel replied angrily. The boys found a ledge beside a wall that provided something of a hard and uncomfortable seat. They all sat down on it and pondered their short futures. "I was thinking of going to flight school and becoming a pilot, or else of becoming a wildlife biologist," Mikel said. "I can't make up my mind. I either was going to fly for an airline or work at a zoo or be a wildlife rehabilitator, or maybe do all of those things," he sat thinking. "Or maybe I could have become an engineer and built things, like bridges and skyscrapers and fancy houses. At least those are some of the things I was thinking about. I guess Mom and Dad will get to save that tuition money." "Yeah," Damon said wistfully. "I was so good at reading and language and literature. I was thinking of going to law school like my papa and becoming a great trial lawyer, or maybe a professor of philosophy at some prestigious college or university and write books about my grandchildren. I hope you write better ones than our grandpa. All we do in his books is nearly get assassinated in Olympic Games, get thrown into dungeons in pre-Dark Ages, or get chased through time by some ugly hag with snakes wrapped around her who wants to kill us, or worse." Fergus thought for a moment. "Well, I was thinking about being a comedian. I was going to go to the School of the Arts and work on theater and drama and all that stuff. Then I was going to become a stand-up guy. Saturday Night Live." "Well, you're not a comedian. A real comedian would be able to make jokes, even in this terrible place," Mikel replied skeptically and with irritation in his voice. "Oh, yeah?" Fergus knew a challenge when he heard one. "Well, what do you call a knight of the Round Table who always thinks he's right? Sir Tain. Get it? Sir Tain. Say it fast. Sir Tain. Get this. What was the name of the knight of the Round Table who was also a spy? Sir Valence. Get it? Sir Valence. Say it fast." Again. There was only silence. Undaunted by his critical audience, Fergus tried again. What was the name of Arthur's fattest knight? Circumference. Get it? Circumference. Say it fast. Death may not be so bad, Damon muttered to himself. Boy, this is a tough crowd, Fergus thought to himself. Hey, anybody got an idea where the bathroom is in this place, he asked. There was another heavy silence. Oh, Fergus said. I guess I'll just wait. Returning to his own plight, Damon bemoaned. Well, I'm not going to write any books now. The only thing I will write may be some graffiti on this wall. He turned to examine the wall, wondering if he could find something to scratch with. Hey, look at this, Damon said. There, in the very, very dim light of the dungeon, was a wall covered with graffiti. I guess some of the people who have been here in this dungeon were literate and didn't have much to do. They've written and drawn all over this wall. Yeah, not much to do and a lot of time to do it in, Mikel agreed. Damon was right. The wall was covered with scratches, drawings, tallies of days, or maybe months, or maybe years, to keep a kind of calendar. Pictures of horses, knights, maidens in long, flowing dresses, and a couple more maidens that the boys only looked at furtively. Hey, look at this, Fergus said as he pointed to the dim wall. Lancelot loves Guinevere. Hey, don't I remember that they were good friends back then? Back now? Good friends is one way to describe it, Mikel commented. Look at this, Damon said. Griffant loves Blancheflower. And underneath, Griffant is a churl. I wonder what that means. No one answered, as no one knew. Hey, check this out. Fergus was enjoying the wall. Dismay ye not, varlets. Thy sickness is to death. There is of no leech you can have no remedy. What does that mean? Are there leeches in here, Damon asked. No, I think that means that our situation is hopeless. You know, we're so bad off that even leeches can't help us, Mikel replied, but somewhat uncertainly. Leeches? Did they really use leeches? Fergus wondered aloud. I hope I don't catch a cold and get leeches. Don't worry. Where we are, no one will care enough to bring you a leech, Mikel replied. Yeah, but if they did, can you imagine it? I can just see a doctor in a white coat walking through the door with a sterilized tray with a dozen leeches lined up in a row and saying, Take a couple of these and call me in the morning. Fergus chuckled at the thought. In the dark, he could still feel the stares of his cousins, who did not share his enthusiasm for their plight. No time for humor, Mikel said, and the tone of his voice wiped a contented smile from Fergus's face, though in the dark no one saw it. Forgetting about leeches, Damon examined the wall. Look at this drawing, he said, moving from one to another. Two knights facing each other on horseback. There is an arrow pointing to one with some writing. Let's see. It says, Caradoc strong arm, foul rebukes a knave. What does that mean? I don't know, but didn't Papa mention something about a guy named Caradoc being our ancestor? Damon replied. I should have paid better attention when he was telling us all that stuff. I thought he was just making it up, Mikel replied. Hey, here's another, Fergus said. To make great joy by my troth, visit the castle of Lady Jane. I wonder what that means. And below that it says, let me see, Lady Jane be a harlot and unabashed. Here's more below. Wist ye well, Lady Jane be gat with child. Oh well, let's move on. Here's a drawing of what appears to be a boy and a girl holding hands. There's some writing. Let's see, Mikel squinted. I loved thee, Mikel, adieu, fair maiden. Mikel paused a moment. You guess the guy who drew this knew he was in love and knew that he was going to die here? No one had a chance to reply because there was a sound of clanking and clamoring on the other side of the dungeon door. The boys watched as the big, stupid-looking guard pushed a board under the door with some kind of food on it. Here ye be, varlets, he grunted. And ye be ready betimes for the gallows. He laughed a sickening laugh, then coughed wildly all over whatever food it was, then went away. So, still the gallows, Mikel said. Looks like you'll be able to keep your head, Damon. Damon didn't respond. The boys fumbled over to where the food was. "Hey, they must have a master chef in this castle. It's... Oh, what a surprise! More bread and water," Fergus said, as he picked up a loaf of bread. Little did he know that prisoners got to eat the leftover bread, what they would otherwise give to the cattle. "This thing is hard as a brick." No, a diamond," he said, as he tried to tear off a piece. "Hard or not, it's food," Damon said. "I'm hungry." The boys slowly overcame the bread, though not without fierce resistance from a tough and brittle crust. "I'll need a night's sleep to rest my jaw after eating that," Fergus said. After a few minutes of silence, which seemed like a few hours, Damon spoke. Look, guys, why don't we explore this place thoroughly? Our only hope is to try to find a way out of here." Since there was nothing else to do, the others agreed. The boys fumbled around the walls, feeling their way. The dungeon was not that large. Mikel found that the bathroom was at the far end. "Hey, Fergus," he said, "I think I found the bathroom you were asking about and why this place smells so bad." The boys ended up at exactly the same place from which they had left. "I didn't see any way out of here," Damon said. "I didn't either," Fergus answered. Mikel sat silently. "I guess this is the end," Damon said. "Yes. I just hope the girls come out of this better than we have. Of course, they may be back at the farm watching the cartoon channel and playing on their phones," Fergus said. "I do too, but something tells me that if they're here, they will have their problems as well. This place appears to be a hard time, a hard place, with nothing easy," Damon said. "If they're here, they're probably sitting at a fancy table high up in a castle, enjoying the best the times can offer," Mikel said. "They're certainly bound to be better off than we are," Fergus agreed. But were they? As for the boys, Mikel, Damon, and Fergus settled themselves as best they could and thought about all the things they had wanted to do, but would not get to do. To say that it was a dark moment would be the understatement of the millennium.